In your headlines, former Chief Minister blasted the government and opposition online. Minister of Immigration unveiled the port's master plan. And Newswatch learns that the driver of a serious accident almost 2 weeks ago in Five Keys has died. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your #1 source for news, I'm Erica Pinales delivering the latest from across the country this Wednesday, January 26, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. In today's top story, yesterday, January 25th, 2022, the Department of Youth Affairs launched the Youth Policy of 2022 to 2025. Details in this report. In an exclusive with Honorable Rachel Taylor, Minister of Education, she told Newswatch the importance of the youth policy in the lives of the youth of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Even prior to today's launch, we have already commenced looking at certain objectives as it relates to the policy and ensuring that our people, our young people, are actively involved in the implementation of the policy. It is important because we have to take a holistic view of youth. Not just looking at the academics of it, but looking at those who are also deprived in our communities. We have to ensure that our children gain an aspect of their lives where they build resilience, not giving up easily. We have to look at the safe spaces of our youth, ensure that we enhance these safe places, ensure that these children know where these safe places are, ensure that the places that currently exist, we put mechanisms in place to develop them so that they will be safe for our young people. It looks at economic empowerment. It looks at labor and employment. It looks at, I said previously, health. It also looked at how best we can partner with our schools, how we can partner with our private sector, how we can partner with our churches in an effort to achieve the objectives of the policy.
Honorable Taylor explained that the Department of Youth Affairs worked tirelessly to achieve the youth policy, and they've committed to it for the best results to show through the youth.
In terms of the program, if you would listen very carefully to what Dr. Charles has said, following today's initiative and following the workshops of our leaders, we definitely will go back to the drawing board, look specifically at the objectives, and put mechanisms in place to ensure that those objectives are achieved. It's not going to be a situation where our team decide that we're going to come up with a particular project. It's going to be the involvement of the youth, saying exactly how best we can come together to execute the objectives.
Honorable Rachel told Newswatch that although strategic plans for the youth policy and programs have not yet been put in place, initiatives have been implemented in schools which need to be harnessed and promoted for all students.
As it relates to speaking to the skills gap, where employees have identified some skills as it relates to critical thinking, collaboration, team building, all of those will be captured throughout our schools. All those will be captured throughout our youth organizations in an effort so that we can bridge that gap that this National Skills Audit speaks to.
Honorable Taylor elucidated on her feelings surrounding the event and the youth policy, and that she's excited for the collaboration of the Ministry of Health and of Finance moving forward with the policy and the opportunities it's meant to create.
I have a great feeling. The great feeling that I have is because those persons who will assist us in the execution and the implementation of the policy are present today. We have many stakeholders, private stakeholders. We have a lot of government officials. We have backbenchers. And then, of course, we have the youth of the country present today. So it's important that we not only involve them today, but in the continuous implementation, execution of the policy, that their presence are always felt. That is what makes it special. So moving forward, it will be my happier days.
The minister also told us that for the future, we should look forward to more opportunities from the youth policy, as well as collaborations and positive results.
What we can look forward to is implementation. One of the presenters this morning said, I will hold it as a Bible. So we promise that we will continue to work in partnership with our youth parliamentarians and our youth council members and the country at large in an effort to execute it effectively.
She closed with giving thanks to persons who contributed to the implementation of the youth policy, highlighting its importance and the positive results it will yield in the lives of the youth of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
I just want to say thanks to everyone who's involved, as I mentioned, and I want to say to the country, the youth policy will be made available on our website page. If you want a hard copy, you can contact the youth department. But I want all churches, all stakeholders to get actively involved. We definitely will be calling our various stakeholders at various meetings at different times as we continue to look at the various 7 pillars. So I am looking forward to your participation, and I'm definitely sure the youth policy will have the support of the government of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
While police were working to piece together the cause of a serious accident almost 2 weeks ago in 5 Keys, Newswatch learned that the driver of that vehicle has since died. Here's more.
We learned that the man who was seriously injured in that car accident on January 13th in 5 Keys has died. The man we now know to be Albert Cox, known as Cox, was flown to the Dominican Republic via air ambulance for additional emergency care of his extensive injuries, however, died last Friday. Cox collided with the stairway of a home at a residence in 5 Keys. He was the only person in the vehicle at the time of the accident. Our condolences are extended to his family and the persons that knew him.
It's time for a quick break. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to News Watch. Former Chief Minister Oswald Skippings blasted the government and opposition in a letter released online. We bring you the latest. From a letter released online, Honorable Oswald Skippings, former leader of the PDM and founder of the Progressive Democratic Alliance, ruled out the government as clueless and the opposition as a failed administration. Honorable Skippings noted that under both administrations, the lives of the Turks and Caicos Islanders have become miserable and depressing. He said, midterm report by a clueless government, a necessary rebuttal by the opposition who was the previous failing government only 2 years ago, and the miserable, depressed, deprived lives of our exploited Turks and Caicos Islanders rumbles on. He added, the same humdrum political rhetoric that has been the norm, designed to appease their political base, knowing that it's either one or the other of the 2 failed political parties that will be awarded the distinguished privilege of governing our country at the next election. The former chief minister pointed out that the 2 parties have stifled electorates to the point that the people have become mentally boxed into either of the political bodies and refuse to escape. Honorable Skipping said, quote, our boxed-in minds refuse to escape the psychological political stronghold that has not allowed us to think out of the box and beyond the tentacles of the 2 established traditional parties, not allowing you to choose a third party or competent independents who have their country's and people's interest at heart. People who have the know-how, the courage, and the credibility to secure a modern, democratic, and workable constitution from the British representatives who have the vision of progressive diversity and the innate, exuberant urge to promote, represent, and empower our Turks and Caicos people, end quote. He said the country needs, quote, leaders that would unite the private sector and race factions in our islands, politicians who would embrace the outcasts and rejected who have been sidelined and relegated under the tree, on the wall, in the barrooms. End quote. Honorable Skippings pointed out that the Turks and Caicos Islands has imploded and needs accordance, asserting that there are politicians with clean hands in the two established political parties as well as the PDA, further pointing out that only a few current politicians who have not been compromised. Honorable Skippings exhorted the country to reject both the PNP and the PDM and to affiliate with a third party that has better vision to move the country forward and not being easily snared by special interest groups or individuals. We need to come together as one and support a new inspired entity and save what's left of our country, an entity that is not entangled in witchcraft and controlled by special interest groups that buy elections and the resulting government. We need a group of caring Turks and Caicos Islanders that is focused on our country's interest and not their own and that of their party, Honorable Skippings said. Honorable Skippings urged the people of the TCI to break free from the mental slavery imposed on them by not only the British, but also their fellow Turks and Caicos Islands politicians. He concluded, "My people, let's free ourselves from the mental slavery imposed on us, not only by the British, but by our black, native Turks and Caicos politicians. We deserve better, but it's up to us. We hold the keys to our freedom and our progress. That single free vote that we have squandered, sold, and given away for too many years for the wrong reasons, just like that. For God's sake, for our country's sake, for our people's sake, and for our children's sake, let's free ourselves, unite, and do the right thing. Elections are not as far as they seem." End quote. On Wednesday, the Minister of Immigration and elected representative for North and Middle Caicos unveiled the Port Master Plan. Take a look.
Construction of the Belfield Landing Welcome Center is well underway and will be completed in July this year. During a national address at the beginning of the year, the Premier said the project is so far within budget and is on time. On Tuesday, the Honorable Arlington Musgrove, Minister of Immigration and Border Services, who is also the representative for North and Middle Caicos, joined his ports team at the construction site for the unveiling of the Belfield Landing Master Plan. Honorable Musgrove spoke of the potential for further development of the Twin Islands, which would be added by the Belfield Landing.
This is going to be a very essential part of North Middle Caicos. This will show you the potential North Middle Caicos has. And it's important for all of us to chime in, all of us to be a part of this. You know, the part of culture. My cousin Lobby, culture. We have to put that in. The tourist comes to want to see that, want to see what North Middle Caicos has to offer. And then again, we have to do our part. Okay, we have to do our part. So with God help, keep on praying for us, and I guarantee you, we will put big in North and Middle Caicos. Thank you very much.
The plan was prepared by conservative architects in consultation with port stakeholders and the community. The plan is intended to guide the medium development of Belfield Landing.
The strategy to develop a port for North Caicos was conceived many years ago and is well documented. Anthony and I, we are fortunate to have been part of this master planning process. The benefits to be derived to the residents of North and Middle Caicos and surrounding keys and to Turks and Caicos Islands government will be tremendous. It is important that the proposed developments as depicted in the master plan come to fruition. The plan must not be perceived as rigid and will be subject to changes. This enthusiasm and momentum must continue. This is a necessary and important component to the overall development of North Caicos and Middle Caicos and possibly East Caicos, and is effectively the seeding project. I think that with its implementation, North Caicos will be where Providenciales was in 1997, set and ready to take off. This will be a good thing. We anticipate decentralization of businesses and jobs from Providenciales to North, new and international local investments. This will diversify the island's tourism product and provide greater choices. It will alleviate the disparity and imbalance within Turks and Caicos Islands and will also lessen the impact of congestion on Providenciales and prevent overdevelopment and overcrowding.
In the meantime, appraisal for the boat slips is completed and ready for tender, and the dredging of the Belfield landing port will begin early in 2022. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Coming up next is your weather forecast. Sister Craft Market Souvenir Shop. Come and visit us for your travel keepsakes, keychains, artwork, t-shirts, clothing, jewelry, and many more. We're located at the Lower Bight gas station in Providenciales, and you can contact us at 649-341-3070. That's 649-341-3070. Sister Craft Market and Souvenir Shop.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to News Watch. Here's the latest in your weather forecast. Here's your weather forecast for January 27th, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 80, low 74, winds east-southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For South Caicos on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 80, low 75, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos on Thursday, sunshine and clouds mixed, high 80, low 73, winds east at 5 to 10 miles per hour. For Pirit and Pine Key on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 80, low 74, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And on Providenciales on Thursday, partly cloudy skies, high 80, low 74, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For your sunrise and sunset, sunrise 6:29 a.m., sunset 5:36 p.m., and for your high tides and low tides, high tides 2:34 a.m., 2:57 p.m., and low tides 9:04 a.m., 9:02 p.m. And that's it for your weather forecast. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future. I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Welcome back to News Watch. The National Insurance Board has announced that as of April this year, all employers, employees, and self-employed persons working in the TCI will see an increase in their contributions to the agency. Details in this report.
Some of the main findings and recommendations coming out of the NIB's ninth actuarial review, conducted in July 2019, was that the board's current contribution rates have remained unchanged from its inception in April 1992. However, its benefits have increased over this time. This is according to a statement from the board late last week. The proposal made was that the NIB needs to increase its existing contribution rate structure if it intends to continue being financially sustainable in the medium to long term. The current contribution rate is 8% of income. All employers, employees, and self-employed persons are being advised that Cabinet has approved the implementation of incremental increases in the current contribution rates over the next 3 years. This takes effect from April 1st this year and will increase a further 1% over the next 2 years. There has been no change to the maximum ceiling of $4,000 per month, the board advises. This year, private sector employers and employees will pay a combined total of 10%. In 2023, the rates will increase to 11%, and in 2024, it will be 12%. Contributions for public sector employers and employees will increase to 9.15% this year, then to 10.5% in 2023, and then again in 2024 to 11.5%. For the self-employed, they will see their contributions increasing to 8%, 9%, and 10% respectively. The NIB says that the decision to increase the rate at this time is a thoroughly considered decision. It was not taken lightly. But if they are to continue to provide benefits that are relevant, the fund must remain strong. They say the fund can only remain strong with the right levels of inflows to cover its expenses. Meanwhile, the board says they are not increasing the retirement age from 65 years old, but they are offering an incentive to insured persons who choose to delay accessing their pension after the age of 65. Accordingly, effective April 1st, 2022, an insured person who retires from insurable employment after the age of 65 and who is not in receipt of a retirement pension prior to that age will be entitled to an increase in their retirement pension of 0.5% per month for every month, up to a maximum of 30% that their pension is delayed. And this starts from the age of their retirement. There is also a change to the accrual rate for the retirement pension benefit for persons aged 49 and under. This kicks in on April 1st as well. This is increased in the following ways. 20% of the average weekly insurable earnings will be payable to an insured person who has paid or to whom has been credited not less than 500 contributions. This will be supplemented by a further 2% of the average weekly insurable earnings for each unit of 50 paid or credited contributions in excess of the first 500, up to a total of 1,000 such contributions or contribution years 11 to 20. An additional 1% of the average weekly insurable earnings for each unit of 50 paid or credited contributions exceeding 1,000 will be paid up to a maximum of 60%. The NIB says the qualifying conditions for the retirement pension for persons aged 50 years and older will remain unchanged, and they will receive a pension based on the current benefit formula. There are two further amendments, one of them being to the invalidity pension. NIB states that the minimum contribution weeks to qualify for an invalidity pension will increase from 150 to 300 contribution. This too is effective April 1st this year. The second amendment is an increase in non-contributory old age pension. The board says that the pensionable age for this benefit will increase from 68 to 70, effective April 1st, 2022. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
That brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Pinales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.